You're listening to Zen and the Art of Endurance, your podcast for getting great at going long.
Because every kind of culture in this country is dedicated to self-improvement. Just take jogging, that deplorable practice. It's a very nice thing to run and to go dancing across the hills at a fast speed. But these joggers are shaking their bones and rattling their brains, running on their heels. And because there's a grimness about it, it's determinately good for you. See? Look. Now, wait a minute. You may not clap when I'm through. There's only one reason for going to school. And that is that somebody's got something here, whether it's a professor or a library, that you want to find out. And it may be that when you are in this way freed from busybodiness and being out to improve everything, that your own nature will begin to take care of itself. Because you're not getting in the way of yourself all the time. You will begin to find out that the great things that you do are really happenings. For example, no great genius can explain how he does it. Yes, he says, I have learned a technique to express myself because I had something in me that had to come out.
My friends, is the incredible Alan Watts talking about getting out of your own way and how to do things true to yourself and your own real nature. And before we go too far, make sure to check out Alan Watts and some of his lectures. There's a ton of them on YouTube. Try to do the ones that are put up there by his son and the Family Foundation. Alan Watts passed away in 1973, so this talk was probably around 1968, 1970. And he was a Western philosopher that brought to us Eastern philosophy. And what he did for us was absolutely incredible. Because being raised in the West, he can take the philosophies and the viewpoints of the East and help translate them to us. And he did just such an amazing job of it. I cannot say enough about what an entertaining personality he was and an incredible speaker. So on that note, today's show, we are going to talk about the method of no method. I take you with me on a long bike ride from College Station, Texas to Independence, Texas and back. And while you're listening to the ride, you can actually go find it on YouTube on the ZenDurance channel. So anytime you're wondering what I'm looking at or I'm talking about, you can actually go just look at it on YouTube and watch it there and leave comments there. It's a great place to comment on podcasts, is on YouTube. And on the ride, I talk about many things, but a lot about the method of no method and how if you start thinking there's only one way to do things or that you have it all figured out, you've pretty much put yourself on one path and you've eliminated all the other ways of success. And there are many, many, many ways to succeed. And the best way is a blend of all the different ways. A great example is Bruce Lee. I think it was called Keet Jun Do. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it exactly. And Keet Jun Do. And it's a blend of martial arts. And that's why he was so amazing, is he didn't feel like he needed to adhere to one style. And if you blend the different styles, then each style has something significant to contribute altogether. So we're gonna get to that ride here in just a minute. It is really great. I think I went to 80 miles on a gravel bike and lots of fast downhills. And being chased by dogs is in there. It's all good stuff. But before we get to that, just real quick, two things. One, I had somebody ask me about creatine with the creatine experiment. And yes, I do believe it actually worked. I'm not doing it right now because it's so cold. I don't need to hold on to water. But the theory was, if you take creatine, and I asked some doctors, and they said that they believed this was true, that creatine, one of the side effects is water weight. Well, if your body can release the water as needed to keep you from getting dehydrated, wouldn't it be smart to take creatine on the regular during the hotter months while you train? And then it's almost like carrying an extra Camelback on your body. Or is the water bound to you and it takes too long to release out of your cells, wherever it is, and will it not be available for you to use? And many people told me that no, it's available to your body, and so if you start getting dehydrated, your body will start using up that hydration that the creatine loads into you. So yeah, it could be an actual benefit in hot racing, where you won't need to carry as much water, or you will be able, I wouldn't do that. I would just say it's a buffer to keep you safer and have you have better performance. And so all summer long, I took creatine and I had no hydration problems whatsoever all summer long. Was it the creatine or was it something else? I don't know, but creatine is one of the most widely studied medicine or supplements that has no bad side effects, and it's actually really good for you. So I don't see why you wouldn't try it. So to answer the question that I got on Instagram, I definitely recommend it. I noticed no bad side effects and only positive side effects. And the next thing is we just finished the Hugelland Mountain Bike Marathon in Fredericksburg, Texas, and it was pretty brutal. I got 8th in my age group, had 3 people in my age group drop out due to the insanely cold conditions. It was just above freezing, so 38 degrees or so, and raining or misting the entire time. And it took 5 hours for me to finish this thing. And I still, even at 5 hours, 42 miles, really hilly, just beautiful terrain. And we saw a Christmas parade the night before. It's like the coolest race. And I've got an episode dedicated to that coming up next after this show. So look forward to that. Kai got 5th in the pro division, so he won $20, which paid for the gas one way to get there, which is funny and sad. And that's what pro cycling pays out. But I think he beat me by an hour and a half. So we'll have him on to talk more about how he races at that level. It's so fascinating to talk to the fast folks and ask what they do. And like the intro of the show, and like what we're going to talk about on the ride, the fast people don't know what they're doing most of the time when you ask them. They're just fast, and it's their natural inborn selves. And instead of overthinking things and trying to pick apart the path, maybe just get out of your own way and go as fast as you can. One of my favorite things that happens when I talk to him about mountain bike racing, and we've just ridden the same course, I'll ask him, did he have to get off his bike to get over this particular obstacle that's like impossible for me to get over? And he'll say, what are you talking about? No, where? He won't even know where the obstacle is that I'm talking about. It was such a non-obstacle for him and the people that are like him. It's outrageously funny to me, the difference in competency on bikes that people can have. And so, yeah, he'll say that he never had to get off his bike once. I don't even know where this obstacle is you're talking about. And he's not messing with me. He messes with me a lot, but that's not one of them. Okay, enough yapping. Let's go ahead and get on the bike and go for a ride. Like I said, you can go over to YouTube, check out the video, leave comments there, like and subscribe and all that stuff. And after the ride segment of the show, at the very end, a little bit more like this that we just did. So skip to the end if you want to hear that. Otherwise, let's ride.
Hi everybody, my name's Brett. I'm a triathlete.
I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Come on, dudes, let's go exercise!
Exercise!
I'm gonna do sit-ups till I poop myself!
Well, hey there, sports fans. This is Coach Brett, and welcome to another episode of Out on a Ride in the Wilderness. And let's see what goes down. Today, we're going to go over some gear and talk about the training method of no method. We're going to get really zen with it. And it's a little loud, but I've been riding into a headwind, and now we're going to go uphill with the wind, and it's sunny. And we came off of this pavement, and it was cold. 50 degrees, 50 degrees starting off Fahrenheit. And so I had on a gilet and a thin beanie cap underneath. But we're about to go uphill, let's face this way. Well, first, this is where we're at. Washington County, Washington on the Brazos. If you want your scrap metal, you can get it there. Let's start facing this way here. Maybe turn away from all the noise a little bit. And we're going to be going uphill for a while, so it's going to get hot with the wind, so it's time to strip layers. I'll throw this in my back pocket for now. A little bit about me. I am your resident Texan ultra endurance athlete. Been doing it since 2004. And 15 Ironmans. I've done an Ultraman, self-supported, which is basically a double and a half Ironman. And yes, that hurt. 100-mile. I'm telling you all this so you know who you're listening to, and you can take my advice seriously, somewhat. And all this is on a podcast too. Zen in the Art of Endurance, formerly Zen in the Art of Triathlon, but as we transitioned to doing more gravel racing and mountain bike racing that my son wanted to do, changed the name into doing just endurance stuff in general. And along with marathon mountain biking, which is pretty crazy. Here's some batteries and stuff for the camera as I need them. I might need to stuff this in a different pocket. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, I think I can put this in my back pocket and then put my gilet in the frame bag. So gravel bikes are really cool because they're okay to use frame bags. People don't seem to mind. And man, are they handy, and they actually make your bike faster because they make it more aero. I come from an extremely aero-oriented background, being an Ironman, and nearly qualifying for Worlds. Really hard to do in my age group at the time. Okay, and we are doing 5 hours. We're riding to the birthplace of Texas, which is Independence, which is that way. And so this is a 2-hour bottle and a 3-hour bottle. And it is 50-50 sugar and maltodextrin, both bought in bulk. And actually I do need a sip because we are 20 miles in, 21.32, but who's counting? And an hour and 17. So you can tell by there I need to, this is a 2-hour bottle, I could use a little bit. We use clear bottles. And along with today's training talk, I'm also a 100-mile trail run finisher. I'm getting really interested in doing a backyard ultra, and I've done a whole bunch of 50 trail runs, 50 milers. And one of the craziest things I've done besides swimming. I was a high school, a youth swimmer. I was a state finalist in Texas, which is a really difficult swim program in freestyle, in several events. And then claims to fame is, besides swimming Alcatraz, which was a dream come true, I qualified via results to get into Alcatraz triathlon. Let's go ahead and get going here. I did swim the Alcatraz Strait, and then that very same summer, later on, swam Lake Tahoe from south to north, which is 22 miles at high altitude. Something's clicky. I don't like it. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. Hey, there's a dog up here. So that's who I am, and we're going to talk about triathlon stuff. I'm also wearing we're going to talk about endurance stuff. Every once in a while, I need to introduce who I am, so y'all know I'm not just some person just getting into this. And my advice might be useful. Looks like we have a Great Pyrenees mix. It's pretty common around here. Yeah, look at it. It's a good herding dog. Livestock guardian dog. Hey, buddy. What are you doing? That doesn't even begin to cover all the crazy stuff I've done, actually, now that I think about it. But it's all interlaced in with, when I first started podcasting, some of the best podcasts out there were lessons from Zen monasteries. I'm trying to wait for the wind to die down. And I learned a lot about Zen along the way, listening to Zen lectures and then started applying it to what I was doing with all this endurance training, and it turns out it goes hand in hand. It's absolutely amazing how it really works. Because Zen teaches a lot of patience and observation and learning about the self. And when you're out on a 5-hour bike ride, you got a lot of time to think about what you're doing and learn about yourself. And eventually, quickly, actually, more than eventually, you run into roadblocks of how to improve and what are you doing wrong. You keep running into what you thought would work versus reality. And it's those conflicts butting. If I was writing no hands, I'd put two hands together, two fists, butting up against each other. Now what? You know? Another thing I'm doing, which is hard to tell at the moment, but a no coasting ride. I'll explain about that here in a second. The problem with the no coasting ride is on a gravel bike, you run out of gears often on a downhill. So you kind of have to coast. Otherwise, pedal. Here's a nice, rough. I've got a suspension stem, which helps, even though it's starting to get blown out. There you go. Like if I pedaled now, I just... There. Whoa. And I dropped the chain. Hold on, I'll be right back. That's been happening a little bit more lately. Actually, we'll do a chain fix as part of our Zen instruction here. Okay. And it sounds like I got a brake dragging. And it's hard for y'all to see, but these bikes, these chain rings, if they're a narrow wide, they have a diagram on them sometimes to show what link to put on, which is really handy if you don't get your glove caught in it. Come on, buddy. A little bit more. There you go. Okay. No. Glove caught again. There you go. And let's try again. And yeah, rear wheel's in there solid, so I don't know why that brake's dragging. It'll be alright. That's not enough to worry about just yet. So, what you learn about Zen over 20 years of learning through lectures, and I've been to Zen monasteries, and but mostly through the application of it and watching how true it is Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is where the show got its name. And the point of that book is that riding a motorcycle, much like riding a bicycle, is so full of fun and all that, swooping around and enjoying yourself. But that's only one side of the coin. To be able to do all that, you also have to take care of the motorcycle. And then that's work and being meticulous and mechanical. So you got the emotional side, and then you've got the mechanical, factual, non-emotional side. You know? Well, I think they bladed this road. It is rough now. So you have to take care of things, which is not fun and beautiful and swooping around. But what Zen teaches is nothing is ever just one. Everything has opposing sides. It comes from the yin-yang of the black and white swirl of you can't have up without down. You can't have stars in the sky without the black for them to be shown against. And that's not bad, it's normal. And while, you can optimize things, use your downtime for tapering for a race to work on your mechanical, and train hard when you feel good, rest and recover when you feel tired, right? There's a whole lot of that is 100% applicable, and you learn to believe in it like it's true. You find it happening. But at the same time, oh, no coasting. Okay. You will never have it all figured out. Heading out with a headwind means that you return with a tailwind. And it was before Einstein, it was the original theory of relativity, and also everything to humans, everything, you can only have something if you compare it to something else. And so everything's relative, which we'll get into one of our training methods coming up here in a minute. And a funny thing is, if you think you have it all figured out, you've got a big surprise coming. Because everything's always changing. And once you learn to embrace that, you can become, got a car coming up behind. We're gonna go over gear too. I've got once you learn to embrace that, you take things in stride. And on one hand, you achieve this Zen coolness, you know. But Zen also teaches that as soon as you try to achieve anything, then you're not doing it right. You're trying too hard. Okay, I'm gonna turn left here. Okay, what a pretty road. We got off that. Love the gravel, but that road was getting a little rough. So, Zen is like an anti-religion. It's or an anti-philosophy, which is pretty cool if you're into anti-establishment punk rock, you know. But basically it says it's got nothing to sell you. It doesn't care if you like it or not. It's just real. Oh, we got a dog. Hey, buddy. Better not bite me. Oh. Okay. It's just real. So it's more of a school of observation than it is of you have to believe in it. Because it doesn't care if you believe in it because it's real. It's like arguing against gravity. Gravity doesn't care. You can argue against it all you want, and then the second you trip and fall, it points at you and laughs. It says, see? It doesn't matter. Okay, we got a little bit of headwind coming up here, so I'll pick us up here in a second. All right, we're back. So, also I've done Gravel Locos, 150 miles, something, twice, and done Valley of Tears. Probably going to do both of those again this spring. And did a 3-day bikepacking trip with Kai through the national forest on gravel bikes. Lots of thick pine forest and woods. And then car up. Two cars up. While those I'm just kind of cruising around as I get older, just finishing and having fun. Kai's out in the lead on those, and I'm just kind of following in case he has trouble, as a good dad would do. I do have some speedy bike chops. I won 2 pretty decent sized local Grand Fondos, 100-mile Grand Fondos, not too long ago. Those were fun. Mostly by blazing through the aid stations or skipping them entirely. Because most cyclists won't wear a camelback. And me coming from some mountain biking background, I was like, camelback, I can skip an aid station or two while other people stop. So I'm big into strategy and coaching that as well. But anyway, the Zen method of no method. Let's get through this turn here. And I think we'll catch up with that here in a second. All right. Now I got a nice long quiet uphill. So the method of no method is an acknowledgement that once you think you have things figured out, things change. And so you need to be wary of people that teach a method like low carb or ketones or all that stuff, or HIIT, high intensity, or only long, slow distance. They all work, but thinking that's the solution to all your problems is not going to work out. Eventually, it stops working. And then what? What do? And now you're bound. Your ego and your image and what you've been telling people and professing, I don't know, cold water dunk tanks. There's a nice view. Let's go check this out. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let's see. This drops down, it's a dead end, and it's really rough. But if we went down a ways, you could see the far side of the Brazos Valley and Texas A&M universities that way. We've started there, actually, and I've ridden all the way down here and around and back. So, it's kind of cool. Starting to warm up a little bit. I think the high is going to be 70 something, maybe 80. There's that wind I was riding into on the way out. Ugh. So if you're sticking with one thing, you're actually trying to avoid the other things. And you can't avoid it. It won't happen. And instead, what's natural is an up and down with training. And in life, everything happens in waves. So if you work with that instead, and then also train a different way, which I'm going to talk about, which is a three-legged stool, but it covers the spectrum, and you do it as applicable. it'll take you a whole lot further. And one of them is train the course. So whatever race you have coming up, you find the difficult parts on the race. We're on Bluff Road, by the way. It's really cool. I like this big tree coming. So if it's got a 10-minute climb, so I've got a marathon mountain bike course coming up, and I think it's got like a 10-minute climb on it. It's pretty hard. So if I go out once or twice a week and practice climbing for 10 minutes straight, you know, at a pretty steep grade, pretty decent power. This is going to happen 3 times on the race because it's a 3-loop race. Now on race day, I pretty much hold back and save myself for those. And then I'll sail through those and have a really nice race. All right, I'll be back after we get through some of this wind. All right. While I was going through that wind back there, it reminded me that I'll list off the credentials at the beginning, not to impress, but look, I'm a very average person, you know, and it was through applying the stuff that I talk about that I slowly became better and better. And I'm teaching you all this so that you can do it too. There's very few people that are pro caliber. If you are, you already know it. But there's so many of us that could be way better if we learned to let go of trying to be the best and actually learn the art of the activity that we're doing, of the lifestyle we're living, and appreciate the finer points. And that's what this is about. Tips and tricks. Okay, this is gonna get crazy. Y'all hold on. This is why we do gravel. The speed won't seem that fast on the screen, but with the doppel, the in and out of the sunlight, and I can't see with my sunglasses on. Let me go ahead and put my fingers on the brakes. This becomes very exciting. Kind of like on a motorcycle. I used to ride motorcycles. Motorcycle at 60 miles an hour feels like a car at 120. It's all about exposure. It's relative, like you said. So for those listening, it's a big creek bottom. I gotta come back out. We'll have another one coming up. The bike I'm on is a VAST, V-A-A-S-T, magnesium frame, which is really rare. Rides really well. Unfortunately, it's a 1x front chainring. I wish I had a 2x for wider range. And the rear only holds a 42mm tire. The front will hold up to a 50 if I trim the knobs, which I have done. But then if I do that, it'll jam with mud if I ride through clay mud. And that has happened. Got a little dairy farm coming up there after this big downhill. So what I do is I ride a 47 on the front, Pathfinder 47. I ride a sawtooth on the rear. That seems to be the fattest 42 I can find. Here's a steeper downhill. This one I gotta be more careful on. Getting way back over the rear wheel. This is one where you would have a dropper post. Really pretty. Can't see crap, and there's lots of potholes. Ah! Okay. I wonder what that beep was. I couldn't look down, I crashed. Climb! Okay. Obviously. Bent over so far to get aero and going downhill so much that Camelback started leaking water out of the hose. I'm also running a Garmin 1040 on the front. I upgraded to that after many years for the mapping. I got one for Kai because my fast days and ultra competitive days, I don't care so much about. I like going far and a little fast. Got a car coming by. Narrow gravel road here. No visibility coming up. But I like Ironman pace. I like what you do for ultra distance is you try to get your zone 2 as fast as possible. And then you stay in that. So like Ultraman is a really good example of that. You want your zone 2 on the bike to be 23 miles an hour at 120 beats per minute, which is very doable with a lot of training. But anyway, the fancier race gear and bike stuff goes to Kai since he's racing pro. And so we got him a Garmin 840. He lost that. But it was so good, we got him another one. I was really frustrated about that one. But anyway, and we're doing our 3-day bike packing trip. Hold on, it's not rocket. And the way he was able to pan and zoom, you know, on roads and such, to find this alternative routes as we needed was really cool. And so if you're into doing ultra, I highly recommend that. Oh, look at all the dairy cows. I'm gonna stop and take a picture. So in Texas, we don't get dairy cows. We get ranch cattle like for steak, unfortunately. But these to me look like Holstein. I'm unfortunately going to stop at the bottom of a really ugly hill and get a video of it. We have Oreo cows where they're white in the middle and black on the ears. Okay. There's some non-dairy cow. I forgot what those are called. Mixed in, but I should know. Charlotte something. Anyway, Emily will like this. I'll film it vertical so it can go up on YouTube and such. Hey, look. Oh, you know what? We're really close to Bluebell and Bluebell ice cream. And look at these dairy cows. The Bluebell ice cream factory. And they go all the way up this hill. Look, Emily. Ask me to take you out here and I will. It'll be fun. They're very happy. There's the dairy up there. All right. Cool. Sending her a link. Dairy cows! Exclamation point. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't. Dairy cows! Exclamation point. There we go. Are we still recording? Yeah, we're still recording. Okay, now you get to witness trying to start uphill again. So what I'm going to do, instead of going that way, well, maybe I can. It depends on what gear I'm in. I'm in a pretty low gear. We'll probably make it. Y'all ain't helping, are you? What do y'all think about Lifetime Fitness reducing its number of pros from 30 to 20? Okay. Not much. Doesn't really matter that much. Oh, this was, yeah, I was in a good gear to start. With lots of experience to remember to stop and shift down as you come to a stop so we can start off easier. We're going to have another fast downhill coming up. So there's Train the Course. So I ended up getting a Garmin after I verified that they work well in the rain. The older ones didn't, 820 or whatever, I don't know. But this one's touchscreen works pretty good in the rain and with gloves. Here we go. Y'all hold on. We got a tailwind this time. This could get nuts. Getting way back over the seat. You know, the dropper post is interesting. Like, if you grew up older mountain biking, you don't really need one so much. People swear by them. But I definitely think they'll make you faster. But is it worth all that work? If you learn to drop your ass over the back of the seat, you don't need it so much. Can't see. Okay. Alright. That was the worst of it. Sounds fine. Look at the sound of that gravel. Oh, and then what I do is I wear over my bike gloves, I wear glove liners. Like if you go to a store right before ski season and sell glove liners, they make the best running and biking over gloves because they dry really fast. A lot of times you don't need full gloves. You just need something thin. And glove liners work. Until these are old, they got a split, you know, or two. I don't remember what other tech I got going on. Oh, I'm wearing, what are the pods? Shocks. If I'm working out hard, I'll wear the Open Swim Pros because they're totally waterproof. And I forgot them when I was swimming the other day. And I usually swim listening to music. I have been lately. And it was actually really nice swimming without them. I had a whole lot of time to think because I do long sets. I do 12 minutes at a time and then a minute and a half rest. I go hard, unclip, slide and glide. There was a Ford Mustang snowball. Move my bike out of the road so somebody didn't run over it. I'm going to take a picture of this and tell Emily I got her a horse. Look, baby, I got you a horse. Yay. That thing rattled off on this. Okay. Let's see, where can I put this in my back pocket? When you're out doing long training rides, it's nice to take a break on occasion. I got water spilling out of this thing. Allows you to reevaluate what you're doing. What's this all about? So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Stop recording. All right. Well, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. If you want to look it up on a map, I'm at St. Peter's School Road and Mertens Creek Road. There's a lot of these people driving in these, we call them gators out here for some reason. I wonder why they're so popular. It seems like there must be a good business case for them. You can drive around your local Ranch Plus and check out the territory. See what's happening. Make sure there's no cyclists causing a ruckus. So one of the other training methods, I got a Garmin radar on the back and a Varia app on my phone. So along with the headphones, I can hear it. Let me know if there's cars coming up behind. And then that way, if there's stuff in the road, like here on the right, I can go over to the left or whatever. And I know if there's a car coming up behind me, which is helpful. And oh, we got a big hill coming up here in a little bit. There's a little baby cow. Little babies. So the method of training the weakest link is what I'll come back with you here in a second after we get out of this headwind. Be right back. Oh. All right, I just had to stop and get this. Look at these longhorns. Oh, you got a little bit of pink eye, buddy. Yeah. snowmobile's horn get you in the eye? Look at these. So pretty. Longhorns are really chill. They're pretty relaxed cattle. Oddly, you think they'd be a nightmare, but they're actually really cool. And yeah, that's that. So let's keep going here. So, okay. Training the weakest link is, endurance sports are really complicated. As far as there's like a whole lot of moving pieces. There's nutrition, there's endurance, there's durability, there's speed, there's oxygen uptake. Did I say nutrition? And hydration, terrain, hills, flats, like gear, knowledge, taking care of your stuff, knowing how to repair your stuff on the go. And that's part of the problem of focusing just on one thing. You know, thinking that you've got it all figured out and like a solution. And how that doesn't work is that y'all got to check out this ranch. This is so cool. Look at that thing. See if I can get, how big is that bad boy? Can I get over the gate? Y'all can see. That is cool. And our horses. Got the bike set on auto pause so I can do things like that. But I always forget to turn the bike computer back on if you pause or by hand. Big hill coming up. So you can make a big mistake, but you keep training what you're good at, which is an ego trip. You know? You're just making yourself feel good by doing something that you're good at. And I get that with swimming. Because I grew up swimming, I've got good swim technique, a good form. So I like to swim because it feels good, because I'm doing it well. But the swim is not going to win me a triathlon. And I had to stop training hard on the swim and just maintain the swim, and then during the race pull back on the swim, and in training really double down on running, because as a bigger guy, running is my slowest. And it was through that I finally started getting better and having big breakthroughs in my triathlons. And then I fell in love with running once I got running good enough where it felt a little bit like biking. And running, it's really weird. You can get up to a speed where the turns, especially trail running, are swoopy. Like you lean into the turns as you go. And boy, once you hit that speed, running transforms. It's so nice. Anyway, I had to train my weakest link. But we all have a chain. At any given time, we'll have one link that's weaker than the rest. Big climb. We're gonna have to paperboy this thing because I run out of gears on it. And a little bit of that, check your ego. is another training tip that you learn from Zen. Out on your training rides aren't a race, you know, so it's like you feel for what the body's doing, not what the numbers are showing. You're trying to train the body to get better, not get from point A to point B as fast as possible. That's for race day. But so the longer I can make this hill a suffer fest, the actual better workout it is for me. So paperboarding, it's actually kind of fun. So you got to ask yourself on the regular, you know, what's my weakest link right now? And then train that. Work on that. Big one is nutrition. That's what's holding you back. In the heat, not drinking enough water. You know, you get tired towards the end of a race or a long ride. You need to do more long rides. And on Training Peaks, which I coach with, you can easily see with all the graphs and charts, you know, somebody's heart rate is too high. They need to work on pacing. With the hill work I've been doing, this hill was way easier. Wow, that's a big difference. See? I did hill work to get ready for my last race. The Austin Rattler, which had big climbs in it, mountain biking. And it worked. That hill was way easier. Way easier. We're not really done with the hill yet, but and I said that there's three things. The weakest link, something, I forgot what the first one was. But the third one is, it's hard to think, you know, you're going uphill. Is pacing both at the beginning of the race and also in your training. And I think we're about to have a whole lot of headwind come up. So I'm going to get off the mic after this little rise right here. But the pacing comes with maturity and reviewing race results and seeing where people were at different stages of the race and how the person winning at the beginning is almost never the person that's even close to winning at the end. All right, I'll be right back. All right, I got a little fast downhill. I thought I'd record. Fun. Smooth pavement. But I'll show you how I run out of gears on this thing. We're coming up on Independence, the birthplace of Texas. And yeah, here you go. Here's your sign. So there's two things at the beginning of the race. I'm gonna interlace these two. Go to the weave, and then we're gonna go into this gas station. I'm gonna show you how to do sodium coming up. How to add sodium mid-ride. One way to do it, besides salt pills. And so people start off in races going way too fast. And then at the end of the race, they're going so slow, it's actually counterproductive. It more than loses the time that they made going faster at the beginning, by a lot. And you're miserable and you're not having a good time. It's nice to finish races feeling good. Really nice. And giving it all at the end, when it really matters. So, people start off going way too fast at the beginning. It happened at Kona. Whatever reasons they come up with, it's not worth it. What I'm going to do over here, so I'm not in front of all of them, so I don't get into it with other people. To show you, this is 2 liters worth of sodium citrate, right? So 2 bottles of this is almost a liter. So I'm going to put half of this in one of these, then go into the bathroom in there and then fill up this one plus my other empty one. And I'll show you here in a second. So I'm going to take this, do that. So it's about half. A little bit like that. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, that's about half, right? Top this off. Right here. Go in the gas station bathroom here and fill up this bottle and then another one. Split this 50-50 with another bottle, and that should be about right. This all came out of my beautiful frame bag. And we'll roll up on these people and turn off the camera as we get near. Let's see if we get any comments from anybody. It's always fun. And then turn off the camera. Oh, a little bit of a motorcycle gang and cyclists. That's cool. All right. Stop recording. All right, check out that tandem right there. That's cool. Very, very cool. Gas station's busy today.
And then it kind of comes into the trees, and you go to the left, and then come up.
All right, so we're leaving. Took off the over gloves. And let's see, yeah, we're recording. Everything's nice. And I think we're going to have a headwind here in a minute for a while, so I'll stop recording. All right, we are climbing up. And I can see radio tower up here, which means we're coming up on high ground. So along with starting off a race easy, and then what happens is if you're going easier, your systems are more calm. You're more in rest and digest if you're in zone 2 instead of fight or flight. And all the fuel you're taking can actually go somewhere and do something. There's a vulture, turkey buzzard. Didn't make it out of the road in time. And I thought I'd include this climb so we can have some fun with the numbers of grade and power. Oh, by the way, more gear. I'm using that Hasioma power meter pedals, the off-road ones. Here's a view of the church. And let's hit some gravel. And then these arm coolers, warmers, they're kind of in between. They're mid-weight. They're not fleece lined, but they work great because you don't get hot as fast. And they're white, so they almost act as arm coolers. And then the brightness of the pattern really helps with being visible to cars. I love these. They're Primal Wear is the brand. I guess they still make them. I've been through several pair over all these years. Love them, love them, love them. So, another thing with the ego and chilling and holding back is in your training. So, you always should be thinking about what something says. Missed call. Something says not something says. You need to always be training today for what you're going to do tomorrow. So last night I went for a run. Well, yesterday morning was Friday morning, and I went for a swim. And I swam, I like to swim 4,000 yards. Just something I like to do. With some intervals mixed in. 5 hard intervals like I'm lifting weights. It's just something I like to do. Going in the headwind up here. But I was thinking a little bit about, what I'm going to do this weekend. Woo, we got a headwind. After we get to the top of this hill, we'll stop the recorder so that we don't get... If I say the magic phrase, it stops. So, then last night, I went for a run, but I ran really easy, and I even cut it short. Because the real goal is a long bike ride today and a long run Sunday, so Saturday and Sunday. So running in the evening and pushing it wasn't smart. And once it started to kind of be like not fun and kind of suck a little bit, I pulled back. And I only ran like 3 miles. But that takes ego training, and walking home the rest of the way. But that run is not the most important run. The most important run is my run on Sunday. All right, too much wind. Stop recording. All right, we are about to hit one of my favorite roads. We'll see how the wind is. I call it Sidewinder Road. But we are in the William Penn area, which was that beautiful church that way. And you see William Penn Road, and we're coming down Gas Camp Road behind me, which had a nice tailwind. And Needed to mention I'm doing 400 calories per hour. Just kind of some info in there. Okay, and we're gonna go that way. So what road is this? So this is slightly downhill gravel. McCraven School Road. There's a lot of roads out here called school roads. It's very undeveloped out here. I have old school houses out in the middle of nowhere. And this road's got lots of nice twists and turns in it. It's gravel, so it's a lot of fun. So I got a little bit of headwind when we're going east. Like right now, we're going to turn and go north a little bit better. But, so you're training for tomorrow. Or what's your next big key workout, you know? And also, the big key to getting in volume. We do have a little bit of a headwind. Oh. See in the shadows, you can't see that stuff. Is to be relaxed. Because if you're doing big volume, if you put down intensity, it's going to wear you out. And if you do intensity, you're also training the wrong fitness system. So you want to be nice and relaxed. Because once you hit like 3 hours, the long ride itself becomes the workout. Doesn't really matter how fast you go. It's going to improve you somewhat. So you don't need to work. So I didn't do it back there a while back because it was into a headwind, but it was a long climb and I was just going up it real nice and easy because it's a 5-hour ride and I'm training fat burning, and one thing that works for me really well is to listen to like talking podcasts, relaxed music, and really set aside the time to just ride easy. That's one of the reasons I totally fell in love with gravel cycling. Is the scenery is so much better, and the whole atmosphere out in the countryside is a slower pace of life. So the whole environment is conducive to going easy and just relax. And then you can get in that, for example, hopefully, for me, a 5-hour ride today, and then a 3-hour run tomorrow. You know? It's just so nice. This is where people get into ignoring numbers and stuff. Maybe pay attention to your heart rate and your RPE, rate of perceived exertion, and just kind of keep it easy. One thing I like doing lately is try to not stop pedaling. And that works for a while, and then there's two dangers with that. Like I said earlier, if you fall into this trap, this ain't, hold on, let me get to this turn here. Unclip so I can drift. You never know when a car is going to come through here. Oh, front slid out a little bit. You just want to go easy. I do that heart rate, RPE. I've stopped right here in the shade to drink water before when I've gotten worn out. Oh, here's a tree tunnel. I love this one. Use the time to think. What's your next week gonna look like? What's the weather probably gonna be? So next week's Thanksgiving. Start like planning out ahead of time. How am I gonna get in training and travel? You know. Oh, but back to the two traps. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do no pedaling. And if you'll notice on a lot of my training lately, I'm like, no pedaling, no coasting. I've been posting that a lot, but that's one of the traps I've been talking about. Because you start thinking, oh, that's the way to train, right? But then you're getting into a method. And a method will work until it stops working. But if you say that's what I'm going to do this entire ride, well, what if you get partway through the ride and you're like, this ain't working anymore? But I've told everybody that's what I'm going to do. So one trick is you don't tell people what you're going to do until after. And then you say what you did. That's always a fun one. Rough gravel. Oh, that wasn't bad. Oh, okay. And so, another big one is, you know you're practicing no method and really good, solid Zen training is if there's a lot of it depends and if-thens mixed in. I'm going to do this until it doesn't feel good anymore. It's nice, let's drift. So I'm going to do no coasting until it doesn't feel good anymore. And honestly, one thing that's interesting about this route is the far end of it is really hilly. So there's a whole lot of coasting because it's so steep downhill and I run out of gear. But the no coasting works really good closer around where I live where it's less hilly. Like this is 50 feet per mile or so of elevation gain. And where I live is like 20 to 30 feet per mile of elevation gain. So it gets to be almost double. And I don't run out of gears very much. Closer if I do the loops around my house. Here's our nudist colony. Woohoo! Okay, we're going to be on pavement for a while. And I'll be back. Stop recording. All right, we are at White Switch Road. Getting really windy, but most of this is going to be a tailwind. Has been for a while. Got a couple of pro tips for you. One is if you stop at an intersection, especially a railroad track, make sure you stop past the railroad track. Because, I could have stopped over there. But then if a train started coming, then I could try to beat the train to get over to this side of it instead of waiting over there forever for it to go by. Sometimes trains just stop, and you're screwed. And then with a nice tailwind, what you do with aero bars, I'll talk about this in a second while we get going. But another thing is my bike computer quit working. It just froze up. And I'm not sure why. First I noticed that my power was frozen, and I thought maybe my power meter pedals were dead. And then it turned out that the whole thing was freaking locked up when I tried pressing buttons, so I've restarted it. So I think I've lost about half an hour of time. But that's cool. That's one thing about doing repetitive routes, is you kind of know where you're at and what you're doing. There's definitely an upside to that. And yeah, so aero bars, because you're in a crouched down position, which is both nice, gives your back a break and your hands a break, but after a while it can get old. And the trick that I learned from 5,000 years of doing Ironman training was if you've got a strong tailwind or you're riding uphill and there's no headwind to really worry about, then sit up. That's when you sit up. And then what that allows you to do is spend more time in the aero position when you need it, because you're not tired. So basically the mistake to make, that reminds me of a Zen thing that'll be funny to talk about, is to be in the aero position when you don't need to. If you got a strong tailwind, yeah, you might be a tiny bit faster in the aero position, but you'll be a whole lot more faster overall, is if you use that opportunity to sit upright and stretch your back out. And then when you do need to be in the aero position, you haven't been so long in it that your back hurts. And you can spend aero position time when it matters most, when you're in a headwind. So yeah, so if you train relaxed, then you're training yourself just nice and chill. It really is a whole other level. And then another big trick is to train by yourself, and then you can go your pace and train your body instead of trying to keep up with other people or going too slow. So the whole time that I'm riding by myself, I'm constantly asking myself, is this the appropriate effort? And if it is, I stick with it. And if I'm going a little bit too hard, I can back off. If I'm going a little too easy, I can speed up. And that's the kind of stuff. Oh yeah, they've re-graveled some of this road, so it's going to be kind of fun. That's the kind of stuff that brings you up to the next level of athlete, is you're actually spending more time training yourself appropriately. We're going to have a car coming up behind me here in a little bit. I'm going to ride pretty easy the rest of the way home, because I got a long run tomorrow. And this is going to be our second to last gravel section here. When things get really rough, put it in a slightly bigger gear than you normally would. That allows you to put more pressure down for longer on the down pedals, and it stabilizes the bike a whole lot better. And I wanted to give a swimming tip. For those of you trying to become better swimmers, one of the greatest improvements you can do is swim with a pull buoy a lot. And what that does is it gets your feet up and out of the way and streamlined with your body. And then now that your feet aren't causing all this drag, on your system, you'll notice that between pulls, you actually glide a lot better. And it's a lot like having a freewheel on a bike. Is that like, I'm gonna quit pedaling here and I just coast along, right? I'm not going as fast as if I was pedaling, but I'm still coasting and doing pretty fast. That's what happens when you swim with your feet, with the pull buoy between your legs. It demonstrates to you, people think it's all about increasing upper body strength, and it does help with that. But the other big thing it does is it teaches you how little your legs are actually doing for you, and they're actually in the way more than anything else. And you should really only be kicking to get your feet up and narrow and together. I thought there was a car coming behind us. I guess he quit. Because the glide that occurs when you swim with a pull buoy is amazing. So what I do is I alternate pull buoy and no pull buoy. Let's see, we got a truck coming up. We'll look to see which way he's blowing wind and get on the opposite side of the road of all the dust. I don't have much time though. Here he comes. It looks pretty even. So I guess I'll get over here. Thank you. That was nice of you. Looks a little bit like it's blowing that way, so I'll stay on this side. Or maybe not. Honestly, it's blowing that way. So what I do is I swim with a pull buoy, and that is it's basically a drill. And it teaches you how little you need your legs and how to glide between pulls and to not kick so much. So let's say it's a lot like using aero bars on a bike. A pull buoy is. It streamlines your body so that you just glide along at a much faster speed. And then yeah, it looks like my power meter's the back of the line. Got a car coming up behind. And my mileage is off, y'all watching the bike numbers. It's off by half an hour. That's too bad. I got a big truck coming up ahead. I may pull over so I don't just get swamped with dust. I'm going to keep the camera lens a little clean. Is there a place, I don't know where I can go to get away from it. I don't think I got a spot. I think I'm kind of screwed. I'm going to pull way over here. It's okay. I can't really see, and I know there's another car coming right behind them. I saw one coming. And it's not just that I can't see. I want them to be able to see too and see me. You know, lately, for a little while now, I've been riding with the white blinky light right here. If y'all can see it. I'll pull it off so y'all can see it while we wait. And it's weird, like emotionally, psychologically, I feel safer riding, and it makes my rides more enjoyable. We'll wait for this car to go. And that's kind of cool. So you're riding swimming with the pull buoy is like swimming with aero bars, and then it's like riding with aero bars, and it teaches you how being narrow and arrow, can't spell arrow without narrow. Anyway, it teaches you, wow, I could swim a whole lot faster if I did certain things. You know, so just like on a bike, you're like, wow, I could bike a whole lot faster if I got more narrow and low. So, this light back on where it should be. So, what I do is I swim with the pull buoy, and then I take it off and then swim without it. And the pull buoy has trained me not to use my legs as much, or hardly at all. And then when I swim without it, I continue what the drill has taught me, and I just swim and glide along with hardly kicking at all, just enough. I kick just enough to keep the feet up and together, and with nice glides in my swim stroke between pulls, and boom, that's it. Okay, we got a hill climb right here, and then when we get to the top of this, we got another section of gravel, and then we're done. And like I said, tailwind most of the way. So while we're climbing, I wanted to talk about keeping your rides separate. Your endurance rides and your hard rides. So this is going to be a 5-hour ride almost. And so I don't need, and it's hilly in places and stuff. So I don't need to mix in hard stuff like 20 minutes of this and hill repeats and all that. Dude, 5 hours is wonderful to practice nutrition and just being casual, getting into miles and thinking, practicing fat burning. Those bushes are barking. There's a little farm on this side. But then during the week, let's see, today's Saturday, Tuesday on the trainer, because it was before work, I only had an hour, I did intervals. And then that improved my strength So that when I went out this weekend, all the hills I encountered weren't as bad, so I was stronger, and I got to spend more time working on zone 2, chill, relaxed riding, because the hills aren't killing me. I'm going slow right now. This is easy. All right, I'm gonna take off these arm coolers, warmers. It's finally getting there. Okay, there's one. I'll be right back and I'll have the other one off. Woo! Yeah, all the interval hill work I've been doing during the week, this long ride is way easier than it used to be. Same hills, just way easier. All right, here we go. Last section of major gravel. And this is usually champagne gravel, but boy, did they put a number on it. Okay. So I guess I'll use my legs as suspension. So earlier we were talking about, the method of no method. There's just so many methods in triathlon, endurance cycling, running, that make you better in the big picture. There you go. Here's some champagne gravel. That, once my legs got tired of doing the no coasting, I worked on something else. It was really hilly out where I was, with these real peaky short hills. So I decided to practice standing and pedaling over the tops of them, and then gaining, just at the very top, and then gaining speed on the downhill. It was something different. It works really well because it gets you back up to race speed on the downhill. You save yourself right till the very top. I'll do it at the top of this one up here, if the gravel's okay. And then you're going faster because you're standing and pedaling. But standing and pedaling takes more energy. But it's okay to use more energy if you're going to rest right afterwards. So now you're going faster than you normally would on the downhill because you stood and pedaled to get more power. And on the downhill, you rest. And the end result is much faster. And you're getting your ass up off the saddle. You're getting blood flow to your crotch again, which is nice. You're using your leg muscles a little bit differently. It's really nice. But I'll wrap up by saying with Zen there is no one way. It's really magical how you can find when I've done the calm on this road, it's I'd be at the end of it by now. Oh, here you go. So see, wait till I get to the top, put it in big gear. Now stand and pedal. I'm getting to a faster speed, but my legs are a little blown out from doing that, I can rest. So it ends up working out. So you practice that. Nice. Oh. Let's go on this paved road. We're going to see if this gas station's open up here. But yeah, Zen doesn't have a particular method. And it's more about paying attention to what you're doing. And there's like sitting Zen, there's bicycling Zen, and there's walking Zen. Got a nice tailwind right here. Talk till we get to this gas station. And the big thing to remember is that it's, if you want to get good at this kind of stuff, you got to not try to get good. That's counterproductive. Right? What you do is you execute the things that make you good. And you do those well. And then and Zen, like you accomplish by accident. As soon as you're trying for the big goal, you fail. Or it'll take you, they say, how long will it take me to get to whatever? I'm gonna be a black belt. How long does it take? Somebody will say, oh, it takes 5 years. Now, I don't know how long it takes to be a black belt, by the way. It says, oh, but, or Zen master, or become enlightened or something, or become a pro triathlete. That's a good one. How long is it going to take me to be a professional gravel racer or pro triathlete? Or do a sub 10 Ironman? Somebody will say, oh, it's like 5 years. It's like, well, I'm really good. I'm really special. I'm going to try really, really hard. And in Zen, they say, oh, is that true? You're really great? You're going to try really, really hard? Yeah. They're like 20 years. And it's because it's a sign that you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're going to try to take shortcuts. You're going to try to find individual solutions. And the art of Zen and the art of endurance is realizing that life and this stuff is a big picture thing where you mix in all kinds of ingredients. People want to know, what's the one ingredient that makes this soup so great? All right, good order. I say, oh, there's some cayenne powder in there. So then people just try to eat the cayenne powder. It's like, no, dude. It's the mix. And some things you put in before others, and some things you cook longer, and some things you cook in different pans. And that's the art of it. A lot of people train in the summer and then take the winter off, and that makes them great. You know? A lot of people do everything they can to avoid being injured. And that's what makes them great. A lot of people have somebody tell them at some point that they'll never be good. I got told that I would never graduate from Texas A&M University. The way my grades were, I had less than a 1% chance, and that pissed me off so bad I graduated twice. I got a bachelor's and a master's. And I went into the counselor's office and I said, oh, it's open. Yay! Let's go in. I went back to the counselor that told me that, and you know what they said? I said, I graduated twice after you said I'd never graduated. I got a master's degree even. And they said, who are you? Never forget that. So, it was all my own goal that made me do it. All right, we'll be back at the house with some totals. All right, we are almost home. I got a yellow light. Oh, this will be interesting. I get to merge with traffic to freak out the cars that don't know how traffic rules work with bicycles. Cars are getting better though. And then that gas station has made me so happy. I went inside and I told, there was two older women working, and they said they just opened very recently. And I told them this place is going to be a hot spot for cyclists and maybe motorcyclists, but definitely cyclists. There's a mountain bike ranch down the road. This is a huge route for cyclists in the area. And they asked where I biked from, and I said from College Station to Independence, and I was almost back. And they were like, oh my God. They go, you must be some kind of badass. And I said, well, the trick is to go easy so you don't blow up. And then after a while, it's not that hard. But anyway, I sat down. I told them there's going to be people wanting. They said they're surprised at how, when cyclists came in already, that they wanted sugary stuff. They thought the cyclists would eat healthy. And I go, oh no, not when they're exercising. They're doing gummy worms and candy and sodas. And so they were a little surprised with that. And then I got a bag. I learned a lesson. I already knew it, but it takes doing it to remind you. There are no gas stations per se on my bike rides. There's very, very, very few. So I'm not up on my gas station what to buy and how it affects your body belief system. I know all of it because as soon as I did it, I was like, oh, that's why. So to get something salty, I got crinkle cut salt and pepper potato chips. And while they tasted awesome, the rest of the ride back, up until just now, has been sluggish, you know. And what's happening is they're high in fat and they're temporarily blocking sugar my fuel from getting to my legs. So I'm getting, kind of lightheaded and all that stuff. And you're like, why? What's that happening? I just ate. Well, I ate the wrong stuff. And, but also, I knew that if I was just patient and I ate more sugary stuff, like my fuel, with a lot of water, it would work its way past that fat and make me feel better. And eventually it did, but I just had to hold back and stuff. But anyway, we are back. I don't think my numbers are right, but I'm not sure because my bike computer went weird on me. It's saying almost 72 miles. But I think that I'm short like maybe half an hour. So we'll see. I'll put how far I actually went in the comments, in the show description. So the big thing though is oh yeah, my back. How happy I am that there's a gas station now at this one intersection that's 45 minutes to an hour away, and depending on what kind of bike you're on, and also headwind or tailwind. But that's really, really, really nice. Really nice. And I told them that we've been getting water out of the back of the post office water spigot for 20 years. And for there finally to be a gas station there, it's nice. And I told them also that there's going to be cyclists. Yeah, there's the gummy worms and the getting sodas and stuff and then rocking. But also, there's going to be cyclists that just want to bike there and then have lunch. You know, it's like a destination. I used to ride with a group, and we would bike 3 hours that way, some way, and then we would stop at this one gas station in a little town called Anderson and get a ham sandwich and then sit and eat it. And it was surprisingly good on the stomach somehow. My old training buddy taught me that. Okay, let's stop everything. And I'll come back later with, in the comments, like I said, this will be the end of the video, with how far I actually went. And also, you know, to sit down with an hour to go and like, it's a good place to practice different stuff. So like, let's say you're doing Unbound or some other long race, an Ironman or something like that, and or an ultra marathon, and they have crazy foods. You know, you can practice and experiment at that gas station with what works and what doesn't. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, everybody stay safe out there, work the uphills, cruise the downhills, keep the rubber side down. I enjoyed our ride. Be back out. Okay, that was a fun ride. Like I said, you can go over to YouTube, ZenDurance with Brett Blankner on YouTube. And let's see, you can hit me up on email, the Gmails, texifornia@gmail.com if you want coaching or advice. And also, if you want to help support the show, we are looking for race wheels or training wheels, and also to upgrade our gravel bikes. So if you know anybody that can help us out with that, let me know. It does not have to be a full-on bike sponsorship. Anything. You got an old bike, you got somebody that wants to sell a bike for super cheap, let us know. The problem is that our gravel bikes for racing are 42 millimeter tire clearance, and that will not do. And also single chain ring, and for professional gravel bike racing like Kai does, that is not cutting it anymore. Unfortunately, these bikes are about 3 years old. So we're looking to upgrade his bike, but we're stuck between a rock and a hard place with paying for college and all that other stuff. So if you want to support a pro and get your name out here on the channel, or get your friend's name or something like that, any which way that you can do it, let us know. texifornia@gmail.com. Okay, now, oh, and also, like I said, I do coaching through Training Peaks. And to help further plug that, real quick to end the show, I wanted to wrap up by saying the mountain bike race that we just did, the Hugelland Marathon, mountain bike marathon in Fredericksburg, Texas, was brutal conditions as far as cold, and then it took me 5 hours, but Kai 3.5 and change to get 5th place overall. And you can go to my Strava and Kai Blankner's Strava and look at our heart rates, and I coach Kai on the side along with his other coaches and teach him how to do long distance stuff. And what I'm really excited about is if you look at my power and speed and heart rate, well, I didn't have a power meter on. So my heart rate, it's got virtual power, but my heart rate and speed in those conditions, freezing cold for 5 hours, is like totally level, like just really, really good. And I finished with a smile on my face, super happy. There's pictures up on Instagram of me having a beer afterwards. And also during Emily taking pictures, the one where I'm just wearing the vest and there's a little bit of dirt in the center of the vest where I crashed a little bit. That's where I had just finished and Emily got a picture of me and look how happy I am. That is proof that you too can train so that you can race 5 hours plus, long distance with solid energy, with amazing fueling and feeling good. That's how you know that your fueling was on point and your hydration was on point, is the smile on my face at the end and also on every lap. Emily said that every lap that I came through, and Kai too, we were actually enjoying ourselves and having fun. And a lot of people were not, but we were, which means especially that your fueling is on point. And then I listened to music the entire time, and I was singing to myself most of the time out loud. And because that is a way that you know that your fueling is on point. If you feel like singing, if you're listening to music. I was wearing open ear headphones, so it's not a problem in these kinds of races. Lots of people do that. And yeah, I feel like I really had a great race and accomplished something cool. So for like weeks now, I'll be on cloud 9 that I did something really challenging successfully. And I'm super happy about it. For us to do hour after hour after hour after hour after hour in those ridiculous conditions, and then finish, go to the hotel and clean up, and then go Christmas shopping downtown afternoon and evening. And then I actually went running the very next day, shows how tough you can get through endurance training and by using the methods that I coach. So looking forward to next episode. I went for a run, like I said, after the race, the day after the race, and I recorded while I was running, way more thoughts about the race and things that I did. And so that's an hour of that, of me running with River at night and talking about all that stuff. So that's the next episode. And that's audio only. And stay tuned for that, all right? Everybody stay safe out there, work the uphills, cruise the downhills, and keep the rubber side down. Out.